I think, in this industry where you have an idea that was placed, that God gave you, that you knew that was going to be something special. One of the things that I take with me wherever I go is finding something in life that reminds you of your childhood and being able to do it in your adult space. Yeah. It's something very light, very youthful, and very invigorating. And when I walk in NBA locker rooms and when I'm on the phone with execs or I'm on the phone with owners or whomever, that I try to let that light shine in that same way, being curious, being helpful.
We're at Liberty Science Center in Jersey City, New Jersey. This is actually where I hosted my first radio show, Nets Slamming Planet, with the New Jersey Nets when they were in New Jersey. 1660 AM Oswald Radio, which is now defunct. I haven't been here since I did the show back in 1998. This is nostalgic. I went inside, got a brief tour, and it's crazy to come back. First of all, even how I got the show was epic. I auditioned at Chelsea Pier, Manhattan, to actually be a radio personality for Oswald Radio. Hundreds of kids auditioned. I got the second audition. It was at Dangerfield's Comedy Club in Manhattan. And what happened was I was a kid personality for Oswald Radio. And at the time, the Nets were rebranding. They had a new logo. John Calipari was the head coach and the vice president of basketball operations for the Nets. And they were looking for a kid who was interested in basketball. And Oswald Radio naturally thought of me. And I came in for an interview with the Nets, and they took a liking to me. I would go to the Nets arena during the week, and I would interview players and get cool with people, and that kind of set the foundation. And on Saturday mornings, I would host a show called Nets Slamming Planet right here, and it was an hour show, and I hosted it with a woman named Lynn Wilson and a former Net named Albert King, as well as Evan Roberts. And it introduced me to the radio game, but it also gave me chops in the field as a reporter. I hosted the show in 1997. I was 12 years old. I was in the 7th grade, and it was the opportunity of a lifetime to do this. And here we are all these years later, coming back to visit, and it's surreal.
We're here at Cathedral International. I want you to tell me about your upbringing here in this church and why it's so important to you.
My mom came to this church when I was about 3 or 4 years old. She was a single mom, and she got me involved in everything. And to be honest with you, kind of gave me the comfortability and the rope to, speak in front of large crowds. I remember being, speaking at King Day services and giving I Have a Dream speeches. I remember singing in the choir. I remember all those different things, and just giving me the confidence as a young man to grow and to flourish, but also learn about God and who God is to me. And I think that is definitely expanded over time, but I think, that early foundation definitely paid dividends to this day. So I'm forever grateful for that.
And what does faith mean to you, especially today?
Everything. It says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. And that's good to say, but to live it out, and that's easier said than done. Mm-hmm. I think in today's climate, faith is believing in something before you see it come to fruition. Faith is investing in people. Faith is investing in yourself. Faith is knowing that what you have can bring great value and can be nourishment to multitudes of people. Mm-hmm. I think for me, when you look at the story of 2 fish and 5 loaves, you mm-hmm. literally had a person that had 5 pieces of bread, 2 pieces of fish, mm-hmm. and fed multitudes because they believed that was something that would be manna, bread from heaven, something that would nourish the groups of people.
And you talk about it manifesting into the industry that you're in. When we think about sports and entertainment, how do you stay rooted and grounded in your faith in an industry that oftentimes doesn't carry the same beliefs as you do?
Knowing who you are. I think that's the first step, and your intentions and your motives. Yeah. I think everybody comes in with some sort of intention of either you want to do it because you love it, you want to do it because you want to be famous, or you want to do it because you want to make an impact. If you're in this industry to just be famous, I don't necessarily think that's going to be longevity. It might be, but if you have a passion for it and you know that that's what you want to do, and you can't go a day without thinking about it, you know that is your purpose and what you want to do. But I think it's bigger than that.
So I want to dig a little bit deeper. Tell me about a moment in your life where things may have gotten tough and you had to lean on your faith.
I would say over the last 2 years, I was in a situation where I worked at a television network for 2.5 years, and I was part of a mass layoff amongst a bunch of people who were talented like myself. And what I'll say is that I already had the blueprint as far as creating Scoopy Radio, which was created in 2015 with my business partner. And we leaned on that over the last 2 years. We reached into savings, reached into, kind of preparing myself, because I knew that was coming. And I think, not only did I lean into Scoopy Radio as not just a podcast, but as a credible news source and a media network, but also the fact that we really made sure that our I's were dotted and our T's were crossed, whether that was over the last couple of years, making sure trademarking was in order, making sure that, travel accommodations were taken care of, and just all those things. I learned so much from working in network television. I applied it to my own personal brand, and it's been a success. That is probably the most recent. And, now we're in a space where, we're taking meetings with companies to look at next moves as far as partnerships, either short term or long term. But I'll be honest with you, even before then, I'll go back to 2016. I was diagnosed with alopecia and was getting into the business and as an adult. And after starting young, and was dealing with a lot of stress. I was losing my hair, my eyebrows, my beard, the hair on my head, and kind of balancing success, balancing family drama, balancing just newfound self-awareness. It taught me how to, one, tell people no. Two, it taught me how to manage stress, and also who was really in your corner.
Well, that's how you felt when you were walking in here, right? And
I'm glad that I'm here. Right there, class of 2003.
Can you believe it's been 20 years?
Yes.
It's crazy, right?
It is. It is.
Now being back, did the memories just come back to you?
I never left. I still was coming back. So I mean, for me, it's always good to come back. I think coming back here and seeing the more things change, the more they stay the same, seeing lifers here. But I think in addition to that, just seeing how much not only have I grown, but how much the school has grown. Particularly coming to the school and covering Dylan Harper last year at Rutgers, and us being both alum of Don Bosco, and him getting drafted by the San Antonio Spurs back in the summertime. And I think for me, it's great to just see the basketball program grow, because that's where I was really involved with. Everybody knows Don Bosco for football, but basketball has grown exponentially. I think for me, it's interesting. I am a child of hip hop, and I remember going to school here when the Clips had the song "Grinding," where you would beat on the table. And I remember being in the lunchroom and beating on the table, and that being a thing, and it being infectious in the cafeteria because everybody was doing that. And that was just on a social level, on a academic level. Coming here, I transferred here my sophomore year, and it was a much better fit because of the balance of the sports program, the academics, but also really developing my relationships with athletes was something that I practice here quite a bit.
Which is what you do now.
Which is what I do now.
What would you say to a young man here today?
Be creative and don't be afraid to be yourself. Everybody else is taken.
I love that line.
Thank you. And I think it's important because, being involved in everything, when I was here, I was a sports editor for the newspaper. That's the advice that I would give to somebody who would come here or who is here. Take advantage of the resources that are there and just make friends with everybody.
Be kind. It costs nothing, right?
It's free 99.
Free 99,
yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Kobe. So let's talk about where your love of basketball stems from.
Love of basketball stemmed from being around my uncle. My late uncle, Billy Rawls, was a commissioner of a basketball league in New York City called Citywide. And I used to go to work with him in it every day when I wasn't in school. And anybody who came out of New York City was in that basketball league. So Stephon Marbury, Bernard King, Mark Jackson, Rod Strickland, they were all in high school. Kenny the Jet Smith, they were all in high school. So, they would go from there to college and the NBA. And so I used to go to work with him, and this was like so cool, like being around the game. And in addition to my uncle's work with Citywide and Riverbank State Park, where he was the commissioner, he did a lot of philanthropic work with Rucker Park, as well as with the New York Knicks. And so just being around that game really opened my eyes to what the possibilities were, and then kind of bringing on home, watching the NBA on NBC back in 1991. With Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, and eventually Dennis Rodman won 6 championships with the Chicago Bulls. I kind of was just hooked on the broadcast.
And talk to me about the multi-layered person that Scoop B is.
That is an interesting dichotomy. Scoop B is a creator. I think for a long time, I looked at this space as, okay, you go to college to get a job and you work in media. But I think over time, I've always been this, but I think I realized it like it was a light switch that came on. The experiences that I have as Scoop B is not just me as a journalist, it's curating culture. It's telling stories that are not necessarily always told. It's also creating my own platform, which people can dive into daily over at Scoop B Radio and ScoopB.com. It's also someone who looks to gather stats, but also looks to get to the nuts and bolts and nitty gritty of what's going on. So I think as a creative, as a journalist, and as a executive producer, I've been able to use my name, my platform, and my social presence and being to do all those all-encompassing things that I mentioned.
This is my late grandmother's house, my father's mom. This is where I lived when I first finished grad school. Lived in the basement down here. This was the entrance. When I lived here, I was building out my career. At one point, was freelancing in about 10 to 12 different publications at one time. I didn't have an oven. I didn't have a stove. I cooked on a George Foreman grill, a crock pot, a microwave. I had a double door fridge. The freezer side was a refrigerator. The fridge side didn't work at all. And this is where, I was commuting into Manhattan, building relationships, writing, and doing all the things I needed to do. And this was at a point when I was figuring a lot out, and nobody was signing me. Nobody was, looking to hire me. And I had to build and grow. My grandmother was hard on me. She ensured that her rent money was paid on time. She would give me a hard time, but it was tough love that I needed. Even during that time, she would tell me, you're gonna make it, but I'm gonna be rough on you. I'm gonna be difficult on you, because you got to learn how to be a strong black man. I had public assistance, food stamps, unemployment at some points, waiting for checks to come in the mail from freelance work. Just the combination of her being tough on me and me getting up and doing what I needed to do will ensure that I'll never go back to that. But at the same time, it set a foundation early in the game. And I'm grateful for it because it made me a self-starter. I remember having a conversation with Floyd Mayweather some years ago. We talked about work ethic and his training like he was broke, sustained him to this day. And it resonates with me because I think the minute you get comfortable and the minute that you stop working, there's somebody else that wants your spot that may not even have the basement story. I think the basement story for me represents literally from the bottom, getting it out the mud.
So when we think about the landscape in media, what has changed thus far along your journey?
The digital landscape, going from being local New York to being national, international, worldwide, just from my reporting to traveling and more. And also, the higher you go up, the more adversity and more enemies you get.
Yeah.
So I think for me, just knowing how to handle that and still doing a good job in the process. Yo. Where Al at?
Right there, you heard his voice.
Yeah, what's up, Al?
What's going on?
Hi. He's right there.
Oh, Suki. What up, pimp?
Ain't nothing. How you? Chilling? Always. You look good. What happened? Nothing. Well, you didn't put the video on. What happened to what? If you don't stop.
Okay, so tell me about the significance of 125th in Harlem right here.
That's the foundation. My mom's side, we owned and operated two businesses, a sneaker store and a men's shoe store. And the men's shoe store was also a shoe shine store as well. My grandfather moved from Florida to New York and saved his money. He opened a shoe shine stand, shoe shine store,
Nice.
shoe store, and prior to that, he saved his money and did what he needed to do. And so that really taught me entrepreneurship, taught me the value of a dollar and how to hustle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And you talked about hustling.
Scoopy Radio, something that started in a sneaker box.
Yeah.
That's significant because I grew up in a sneaker store, worked in the stock room, worked at the cash register, and we turned Scoopy Radio into a streaming platform that does well and books guests on the regular. So I think for me, watching that format of commerce in the sneaker store and the shoe store, I turned that into my media career. In the 2000s, as Harlem was becoming gentrified, my family was actually approached about selling the building. The building was our men's shoe store. Any and everybody was in that shoe store, whether it was Dizzy Gillespie, Malcolm X, Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney and my late uncle used to tell jokes and have each other in stitches back then. And that store holds significant value, but they basically offered to buy the building and in turn find a new place up the street and pay rent on it. Little did I know that would be a Whole Foods.
So we're here at the New York Liberty and Chicago Sky game today. What does it take to prep for a game like this?
And kind of just prepare who's going to be playing that night, who I want to talk to, who I have a rapport with. So you look at the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese. I've built a solid rapport with her over the last year. We had a viral moment last season, and I've done some things since. I'm looking to see what's going on in the news and how she and I will either see each other during the game or make eye contact at a press conference and then ask the right question and execute. I might have a gift for players. I might wear something that stands out, or I just ask a question that's different than most people. It's kind of just reading the room, feeling it out, and executing.
So being a male correspondent in this space, what do you enjoy seeing when it comes to the WNBA?
Well, I remember the WNBA from its inception in 1997. I remember when the NBA season was over and I needed some more basketball to watch. And so I remember the early days, Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, Teresa Weatherspoon, all of those household names that are beloved to the WNBA fan base. And I remember as a kid watching on television, and that really hasn't changed over the years. So I've always enjoyed watching women's basketball, and I just think that right now it's at an all-time high. And I think that more than anything else, it's continued to grow. I didn't start jumping on the WNBA bandwagon when it became popular on social media.
Marsh. So, baby, how you feeling?
Okay. Y'all need to ask me another question.
I have a question after Adrian, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Fine. So last week I spent some time with James Worthy, a legendary Showtime Laker, and he was marveling at your name. He actually said that you remind him of himself rolling his career playing for the Lakers. No shade, like just developing his jump over time, but able to drive to the basket, able to rebound at a high clip. Two-part question: have you watched James Worthy's game? One, and two. I guess response to that.
No, I haven't. I haven't watched much of this game, but now that I know, I'll go back and watch some clips of him. But I just thought that they get. And the shots that I've taken this year, when they have that knocked me, I've taken the shot and made it or I missed it. So I know I'm just continuing to get better and just continue to build confidence.
A win for Scoop B looks like continuous flow of what I'm doing in long form, short form, and in writing, and just doing good work. I think the work speaks for itself, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've always been big on. Having work that's recognized, that I'm proud of, and that is continuing to be distributed across the world, and people see it, people engage with it, people like it, and continuing to grow. I also think a win for myself is continuing to use my platform to help others build theirs. I think over the last, I'll say 3 to 5 years, developing a team that has assisted me and vice versa, and then they're taking that and they're doing stuff for their own personal brand, whether that's close friends, whether that's family, and more. I also think a win for myself is freedom, being able to wake up in the morning and live my life the way that I want to, being able to travel when I need to and want to, and also just continuing to do what I love, which is basketball, which is travel, which is life, which is my friends, my family, and just really tackling my passion. I wake up every day smiling, happy, even if I don't have the best day in the world. I know that I'm living within my purpose, and to me, that's what a win is.